Chelsea, and today I am standing on the library walk at UCSD in front of the Geisel Library, and today I'm going to give you a little tour of part of the campus. The reason I'm here today is because I love the community that UCSD has to offer. It's made up of 30,000 students, and they're very technologically driven. But what interests me the most is when the first time I came to visit UCSD was the Stuart collection, which is built upon many different pieces of public installations. So let's go. So the first piece that I'm going to talk about is titled Trees by Terry Allen. It was installed in 1986, and right now we're approaching just one of the 3 trees that he installed. It's titled The Silent Tree, and what was really important to Terry Allen was that instead of having a piece where you're looking at art, he wanted students and faculty and everyone who comes to visit UCSD look at nature. And what makes it unique is that it's covered in a lead skin, and it's not shiny, so the gray, dull-looking skin makes it blend in with nature. And Terry Allen made this out of a eucalyptus tree that the university wanted to cut down, and instead of just letting those trees go by the wayside, he decided to incorporate it in a commission piece for the school. So now we're looking at the entrance to the library, and the second piece that we are approaching right now is by John Baldessari. He is a native to National City, and the art piece that he commissioned is titled Read, Write, Think, and Dream, and it was installed in 1994. He is known for his graphic design aesthetic, and he really likes including bold words into his piece, so that's why it's this entrance is titled Read, Write, Think, and Dream, because it's in front of the library, and he wanted to create a memorable piece, so he included students in this piece. And right now I'm going through the entrance door to demonstrate the different colors that the sliding doors create with the color window panes. And I love this piece because it's very inspiring, and it's a refreshing feel to entering into a library. So before we get to our third piece, I would just like to say how much the art culture means to me, especially at UCSD, because I think of this place as mostly an engineering and medical driven school, and the art pieces make it well-rounded, and especially having art pieces around the library, which is an art piece in itself and a place for knowledge. I think all of those elements together make it a beautiful place. And right now we're looking at the statue of Dr. Seuss and the Cat in the Hat, and the nature that surrounds these futuristic buildings makes it all the more a mystical place. So, and the simplicity of the building is very interesting. It really makes me feel like I'm in a whole other world with all of these art pieces and different buildings. So right now we are approaching the art piece titled Snake Path by Alexis Smith. It was installed in 1992, and the purpose of her art is to think about cultural myths and the idea of paradise. So she was inspired by the Garden of Eden story. Right now we're approaching the entrance, which is what it was intended to be the entrance, is a snake head. And I think it's a very interesting piece because it's from above, you can see it in all its glory, and from down below, it feels like you're this tiny person who's getting lost in a mystical forest down a mysterious path. And right now we're approaching two paths that kind of diverge, and it goes around in a circle, like it loops around and then goes back down to the bottom. But in the center is like a little miniature Garden of Eden that Alexis Smith wanted to create, with fruit that symbolizes the forbidden fruit, and a bench where you can sit, and there's a biblical reference to being blissful in the garden and ignorant of everything outside of the world, which is really beautiful. And it's a nice place to go when you want to relax from studying all day. Every time I visit, I like to take my sketchbook out and just sit and draw whatever's around me. And as you can see, the path is slightly curved and difficult. It was very difficult to walk on, because the artist intended to, add another element of, like, including a real snake. And right now we're approaching the large book, which is a large metaphor for knowledge, and it's a metaphor for the university in itself, because when you go to any college, you're very blissful and excited and don't have a whole lot of information, and then you go to the library and through your classes and you gain this knowledge, and once you graduate, you're out in the world with your newfound power, which can be scary but also very exciting. So right now, as we walk from the library, we are going to the Jacobs School of Engineering, which is home to many, many graduate students. My cameraman, who's in this video, he actually attends the Jacobs School of Engineering right now. And now we are approaching the piece titled Fallen Star, right up there, which is by Do-Ho-Seo. He's a Korean artist, and what he intended was to create an illusion of this place that's not really normal in a college setting. A lot of students are probably, far away from home, so this art piece, there's a sign for Jacobs School of Engineering. Anyway, it's a place where students can go to, be reminded of home and the small things, to take a break. And, it's a displacement for the artist himself, because he's from Korea and he moved to America to go to the Rhode Island School of Design and eventually Yale. So he missed home thinking about this project. Alright, the next piece that we're approaching is titled Vices and Virtues. It was installed in 1986. You can see it right there. You can normally see the words better when the sun goes down or at nighttime, but on the building there are 7-foot-tall letters with the 7 vices and 7 virtues. And this piece was originally intended for the theater department, but they thought that it would cause a lot of controversy, and encourage students to, indulge in the 7 vices. But eventually the engineering department decided to pick up this project, because who would want to pass up an opportunity to have this beautiful art piece? It's by Bruce Nauman, and it surrounds the Powell structure. And what's really cool is that when the letters layer each other, they create different shapes and forms, which is it symbolizes a student's life going through college. You experience vices and virtues, and sometimes those those overlap each other. And so now we are walking toward the last piece of the tour, which is by Tim Hawkinson, and it's titled Bear. A lot of San Diegans should be familiar with it, but for me, this was the first art piece that I saw when I visited San Diego, and it was a really memorable piece for me because of its simplicity and the scale of it. It's mind-blowing how they got these boulders to campus. But what's interesting about that is that this piece took a year and a half to put together, just because of how the artists and a lot of students from UCSD and SDSU and faculty, they all had to go on a scavenger hunt for the torso rock. And eventually an SDSU grad found this rock on the east side of San Diego, and it weighs about 217,000 pounds. So that's just the torso in itself. So that's pretty amazing. What I like about this piece is that despite its simplicity, there's actually a lot of planning that went into it. Tim Hawkinson, he wanted to make sure that the piece was earthquake-proof. I don't think a lot of people would look at an art piece and say, hey, that's earthquake-proof. So, this concludes my tour. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know that even though this isn't a traditional neighborhood, I wanted to highlight the art pieces within this community that make it really memorable for me, and I hope make it memorable for other people who come to UCSD. And I just really enjoy the futuristic feel and the art pieces by artists who have been all over the world and have experienced many different things. So that is something that I will take with me into my future adventures in looking into public art. So that is my tour, and thank you.